everybody, it's Mrs. Londoño. Can you see me? No? This giant card is covering my face? Oh my goodness, what does it say? Oh, it says perspective. Perspective. Was it really that big? No, it's smaller than my face. But it was very close to the camera, so it looked big. And that's about perspective. Perspective has to do with the way that we see things. Things look different from different positions. When things are close to your eye or to the camera, they look big. But as they move far away, they look smaller. Close looks big. Far from your eye or far from the camera, it looks smaller. Those are two different perspectives. So I'm going to show you a couple different examples of things from different perspectives. And then we're going to do a fun art activity. Look, there's Pete the cat. From this perspective, it looks like I could hold him between my two pincher fingers. Do you think I could pick up Pete the cat with my two pincher fingers? Well, if we get closer, we can see. No, Pete the cat is really big. When we get close, my fingers can't pick him up from the top to the bottom. But when we get far away, our perspective changes. Pete the cat looks smaller. He looks like I can pinch him. But we know that's just the perspective. He's not really small. Look at this round object. It's a sphere. Do you think it's really big or small? It's hard to tell from the camera because you don't have anything to put it into perspective. When the camera or your eye is really close, it looks big. But if we move further away and get far away, we can see it's not a giant ball. It's actually a small marble. And to put it into perspective, look, here's a regular size pencil. So it's just small. Our perspective changes. What it looks like changes when you get close or far. Okay, here is another example of how we see things from different perspectives. This is a rock from my rock collection. Right now, our eye, or the camera's eye or lens, is next to the rock and it's close to the rock. So this is what it looks like when we can see it next to and close. What do you notice? I'll even move it a little closer. It looks like this rock has lots of little tiny pieces in different colors. It looks like a whole bunch of tiny rocks stuck together. Can you see that? It has white, gray, kind of shades of brown. That's how the rock looks like from this perspective. If we get far away, you might not be able to see all those tiny details. It might just look like a white or brownish rock with little specks, but you can't tell that it really has lots of little tiny different rocks all stuck together. Now this is just from one position. Let's change our position. Let's go above. Oh, now the rock has changed shape. If we get close, we can still see that it's made of tiny little rocks all stuck together. But does it still look like a small triangle? Look, this is next to and above. Let's focus our eye. Focus the camera. There we go. This is the same rock, but from a different position. It looks totally different. And if you move far away, it looks smaller and smaller. So remember, the further away you get, the smaller it looks. The closer you get, the bigger it looks. But did it really change size? No, it's the same rock, just from different perspectives, just like in the book, A Stone Sat Still. So today's activity, the painting activity, was inspired by this book called A Stone Sat Still. If you didn't hear me read the book already, you can watch my YouTube video on your plan. You'll find the link. But the video shows how this same rock looks from different perspectives. Let me get a good example. A good illustration. This one isn't showing about the looks, it's showing more about the feeling, the texture for different animals. This one's showing the different seasons, and you'll see more about that in my book read video. Oh, here is a perfect example of an illustration showing perspective. The animal, it's a giant moose, sees the rock. Look, his eye is way up here, and the rock is a little bit far from his eye, and it looks small. But then, on the next page, this is the same rock. Here is a little tiny creature. He's minuscule. Look at his teeny tiny little eyes. He's very close to the rock. So the same rock looks small to the moose, but it looks enormous to the little bug. And we are going to do a perspective painting today. I'm going to show you a rock, and you can paint it 2 times. You can paint what it looks like if you were a mouse, like a little tiny mouse, not a moose, a mouse, a small mouse, like squeak, squeak. Or you can paint it as if you were a bird flying high in the sky. I'll show you the rock. So here is one of my special rocks from my collection. It's actually called amethyst. It's considered a gemstone or a crystal. So this rock usually looks like this on the outside, like it could be a big round or roundish object, and then you break it open, and this is on the inside. So this is not a whole rock. This is just a piece of a rock called amethyst. Now, if you were a little mouse or a tiny bug on the ground sitting next to this rock, it would look like this. You can pause the video now so this image stays up on your screen, and you can paint a picture of this rock. I'll show you my picture, and then we'll do another one of how it would look if you were up high in the sky like a bird. Okay, so I've got my paper. I folded my paper in half. You can use one paper folded in half, or you can paint on 2 different papers if you want. But I'm going to use 1/2 of my paper to paint how the rock looks like to a mouse. If I was a tiny mouse next to this rock, I'll paint that first, and then on the other side I'll do the one like a bird. So I just want to show you, I have my watercolor paint. I wet my brush, tap off the excess water. I'm going to start with the bottom first. So I think that looks a little gray and a little green. I'm going to do a little black first, and then I might add green to it. So I'm doing my black line. I'm going to get green, so I'm going to wash my brush, tap off the excess water, and switch colors to green. just a little bit. And I want to add it to my black line because I feel like the rock has a little greenish, a little blackish. And then my perspective, my view, I feel like there's a little layer of white. I don't have white paint, so I'm just going to leave a little white space. Maybe I'll paint it water, so I remember. Here's some water. When it dries, it won't look like much, but that's exactly what I want. I want like the little white space. So now I'm going to get, what color is this rock? Purple. The top part is purple, so I'll get some purple paint. So I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Just a minute. So here's my painting of the rock in the perspective of a mouse. So if I was a tiny mouse sitting next to this rock, this is what it would look like to me if I was close to the rock. I'm going to write the word close. So this is the rock, and this is close. C-L-O-S-E. Close. Now I'm going to use the other side of my paper, or you can use a second piece of paper if you want, to draw the rock, or paint the rock, I mean, as if it were far, as if you were a bird flying high in the sky. So remember, close, far. I'm going to paint that on my paper, and I'll show you in a minute. So if you want, you can pause the video to see how the rock looks like far away and paint your picture too, and then unpause to see the rest. So I started by doing the dark purple outlines, but this rock isn't totally dark purple. It looks like it has white and everything. So I'm going to rinse my brush and just use water to color in the paint that's already there. So it has different shades of purple. I'm just using one purple paint, but I can make it darker or lighter with different amounts of water. So this is how I see the rock from a close perspective next to. And this is how I see the rock from a far perspective above. And I wrote the word close, but I cut that off. I'm going to write it again at the top because this isn't just close, it's close and beside. And this isn't just far, this is far and above. So I'm going to write those words up here. So there it is. I just wrote beside and above. Beside, starts with the letter B. Above starts with the letter A. So it's the same rock. This is what it looks like beside. And this is what it looks like to me from above. If you paint this rock, or if you pick a different object in your house to paint what it looks like beside and above, or close, or far, send me a picture or video. I'd love to see it. Thank you.